Hello and welcome. Here is Aditya Novotny. This is the 12th Essential Holy Nights year, month of June. The year is 2021. And I welcome you to a special edition on top of the actual practices with the essential oils, your 7 areas, your 7 fields for the month of June, and all the cultural and spiritual backgrounds. We're going to look at the present day situation. The year 2021 has proved to be a year of resilience for human beings in many parts of the world. What does resilience mean? Resilience means to be steadfast, to be enduring, to be improvising, to be finding solutions, to never give up, to be patient, to be strong, and to know where your goal is. So I put together a few wellness tips for you that help you in this special year to be resilient. You will be in various situations. Nowadays, there's 3 kinds of people: those who are vaccinated, those who are not vaccinated, and those who have experienced the disease and have overcome the disease. And from each of these particular 3 groups, certain health challenges may arise: vibrational challenges, energetical challenges. So I put together a program for you how you can keep yourself in optimum state. Number one is use needles from needle trees, especially use pine needles. The pine tree is the highest in vitamin C among all the trees and all the plants and all the fruits, in fact. And if you just take this much, a bundle of pine needles, and you are boiling it in water, and you drink this once in the morning and once in the evening, you have an excellent basis for vitamin C. Also, studies show that if you combine pine and spruce and fir and cedar wood, you have a very well-rounded supply of not only vitamins but also sesquiterpenes and monoterpenes. So this stabilizes you, this makes you holistically whole and strong. And how do you deal with these 4 types of pine trees or fir trees or spruce trees or cedarwood trees? You have the essential oils. And I recommend you for your diffuser use 2 or 3 drops of pine oil, then 1 drop of spruce oil. It doesn't matter if it's blue spruce or black spruce. 1 drop of the Idaho balsam fir or Idaho grand fir, and 1 drop of cedar wood. And you diffuse it every day. And you can also use it to apply on your whole body. You will experience how relaxing this is and how enhancing this is, and really giving you strength and giving you a very powerful aura. So this is my first tip for you. Use pine needle oil plus spruce needle oil plus fir needle oil plus cedar wood oil. And you have an excellent combination, not only for real healthy, natural, fresh scents that come directly from nature, but also something to really improve your aura, to improve your energy field. Number one, pine, spruce, fir, and cedarwood. Number two, you may have heard from me or from someone else the wellness application with 1 drop of lemon oil, Vitality lemon oil, or Plus lemon oil. In the European market, the food supplement essential oils are called plus oils. In the rest of the world, these food supplement oils are called vitality oils. So you take a drop of lemon on 1 liter of water and you drink it during the first half of the day. During the second half of the day, you take 1 drop of grapefruit oil, grapefruit vitality oil, or grapefruit plus oil. You put that drop of grapefruit oil in another pitcher of water, 1 liter of water, and drink it in the second half of the day, ideally till 6, 7 p.m. What does it do for you? Lemon, grapefruit, you will feel very happy. The scent is marvelous. The taste is marvelous. It really drives you, it gives you strong energy and inspiration. And I cannot tell you more than this, but you can try it for yourself. By the way, don't take anything for granted just because I'm telling it to you. Just try it out. Try out the pine, spruce, fir, cedarwood that I told you before, and try out the 1 drop of lemon oil plus 1 drop of grapefruit oil. First half of the day with 1 liter of water, second half of the day with 1 liter of water. And you may do this already now in summer if you are in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you are at the beginning of winter anyway, and then it will be even more worthwhile to do both the pine needle and other tree oils, plus the lemon and the grapefruit oil drinks with water. It's just 1 drop of the particular oil, the respective oil, on a liter of water, and you will feel what it does and you judge for yourself how you like it. So that was tip number 2. 1 drop of lemon plus, or lemon vitality plus, 1 drop of grapefruit plus oil or grapefruit vitality oil on a liter of water each. Third tip, supplements. Make sure you have zinc supplement. Make sure you have good vitamin C. If you do the pine needle tree tea, then you have an excellent supply of vitamin C anyway. Otherwise, use, for example, Young Living's vitamin C. Also, if available in your market, in the European market at the moment it's not available, the Super D, vitamin D from Young Living. And if you cannot get a hold of it because it's sold out, Super C from Young Living is available, so it's an excellent source of vitamin C. Otherwise, with Super D or vitamin D, when it's not available, you can choose any liquid form of D2K3. It's a combination of the D vitamin and the K vitamin that work perfectly together with each other. So these are 3 supplements that will make you really resilient and will give you a positive energy, a positive drive. You will feel it. Zinc, Super C or vitamin C, and Super D or vitamin D2K3. Next thing, make sure that you have some kind of cleansing, and basically that could be alkaline. It's not only cleansing, but it's making you alkalic. It could be any kind of mineral powder. Depending on the market you're in, you may get this as Young Living products, which I personally always prefer. If you're like me in Europe, then of course you can use multigreens, but we don't have a proper supply of mineral powder, so I use zeolite. That's a kind of volcanic ash. It has a fractal structure. It's like healing earth or healing soil that you can get in Europe in any pharmacy. And you take 1 tablespoon of healing earth in the morning with water, could be the lemon water, and you take 1 tablespoon of healing earth in the evening, ingestible healing earth. It could be with the grapefruit water that I recommended to you. However, zeolite, I spell it for you. That's Ceolith. Zeolite. Zeolite, volcanic ash, has a fractal structure. It has up to 10 times as much surface than the healing earth has, and that is really beautiful because it picks up a lot of stuff that can be cleansed from your organism if you ingest it with water. And additionally, just take super cal or calcium, magnesium. Be sure to be good in good supply with minerals, and if possible, get the zeolite or the healing earth. That is to make you alkalic, alkalize your system, and to cleanse your system. That is tip number 4. Tip number 5, take a bath once a week with borax, with Epsom salt, with magnesium salt, and also with some essential oils. So borax, Epsom salt, magnesium salt, and also some essential oils to your liking. Will do a lot from the skin to keep you alkaline and also to purify you, pore deep, because we're living in an environment where there's a lot of things flowing around, and that's not only stuff that is flying around and bombarding us, it's really also a lot of electromagnetic frequencies, EMF. Since the introduction of 5G, we are bombarded with more frequencies than ever before. Why is this potentially a problem? Because the human being for thousands of years have never experienced such concentrated radiation. Nowadays, the authorities that measure the um, amount of radiation that is permissible, they go for an average amount throughout 24 hours. However, with 5G, it often happens that in the middle of the night, some people who have EMF measurement devices, they found out that at 2 a.m. or at 4 a.m., suddenly there is a huge pulse of information that is coming through and that is bombarding people literally in their sleep. And that's high above, that's like in the realm of 1.6 gigahertz. So high above any normal um, frequency like hertz frequencies or megahertz frequencies, which human beings have been used to for a longer time. So only now in the last 10, in the last 5 years even, the EMF radiation has exponentially increased, and for this it will be good to take the bath with borax, with magnesium salt, with Epsom salt, with some essential oils. It does something to ionize you, it does something to alkalize you, and also throughout the night, make sure that you not only turn your router off, but that you turn your, what everyone has, off, put it in airplane mode or put it off totally, but make sure you keep it in a separate room from the room where you sleep. And in the room where you sleep, if possible at all, switch off the electricity for that room completely. That you are in a room where there is no electromagnetic frequencies. Reason for this is the more frequencies, the more wires, the more internet for everything, um, the more devices like this, it's really building up. And some of the devices, they're basically echoing the radiation. So some people really live in a very concentrated setting of EMF radiation, which the human organism is not used to yet because we're just bombarded with it for the last 5, 10, 15 years. And before that, has been so little radiation in comparison for thousands of years. So, no doubt the human body is resilient. It will cope with that also, but it may take some time. So, some people experience loss of concentration or little energy or sleeplessness and some other phenomena. And that is worth a test. I'm not saying that that could be the case. I'm just saying it's worth a test to have your mobile phones off in another room, to have your router off, so no Wi Fi running throughout the night, and to even, if possible, switch off the electricity for the room in which you sleep. Additionally, there is some devices like kind of a Faraday cage textile which you could hang above your bed. Maybe you know the princess beds that little girls have, or also these royal beds that royalty used to have, like where you basically like a heaven above you. And there is nowadays kind of Faraday cage linen or textiles which you can hang over your bed, and that will be also a very nice protection. So that is an additional tip how you can protect yourself against radiation. And number 7, nature. Nature full of negative ionized particles. Where do you find those? You find them in the soil. So it's a good idea to spend bare feet for 20 minutes every day on the earth or on the grass or on the sand if you're lucky enough to live near an ocean, near a coast. Spend every day 20 minutes barefoot on Mother Earth. This will really balance you out. It will ground you. It will resupply you with negative ionized particles because all the EMF radiation is positive, 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 highly concentrated positive. I know it sounds positive, but for the human organism, it's unfortunately negative. And for the human organism, healthy is negative ions, like in the forest, like from the earth, the grass, the sand, like in the mountains. And if you can do that for 20 minutes, get in touch with Mother Earth, get grounded, that will be a big help for you. So, altogether, 7 tips for the present day situation: pine needles plus spruce, fir, and cedar wood. Secondly, 1 drop of lemon on 1 liter of water in the first half of the day, 1 drop of grapefruit on 1 liter of water in the second half of the day. Thirdly, zinc as a nutritional supplement plus super C or vitamin C as a nutritional supplement plus super D or vitamin D2, K3, ideally in liquid form as nutritional supplements. Number 4, do something to alkalize you, like minerals, like calcium, magnesium, supercal, megacal, and also zeolite or healing earth, depending which part of the world you live and what is available to you. And take it every morning and every evening. Healing earth, 1 tablespoon in the morning, 1 tablespoon in the evening. If you have zeolite available, you need only a teaspoon in the morning and a teaspoon in the evening. Will do a lot to alkalize your metabolism, your pH balance, and also is very cleansing. Number 5, it is, if I keep it in my memory, um, it is advisable to take a bath once a week with borax, with Epsom salt, with magnesium salt, and you can experiment a little bit to see what your skin likes, and also with some skin friendly essential oils. And this is not only to wash you, but also it gives you very nice alkaline effect, plus it washes you pore deep of many things that are in the air nowadays. Too many things that I can mention right now. Then number 6 was that you learn how to deal with your electronic gadgets, and you have your mobile phones not only in airplane mode and Bluetooth off and all internet of everything devices off during the night, but you also shut down your router, your Wi-Fi, and if possible, you shut down the electricity for the room in which you sleep so that your room is totally empty of EMF. I mean, there is enough surrounding EMF anyway. And there is in some countries available kind of a textile which you can hang over the bed, which works like a Faraday cage, that is preferable. You can find something like this, like in a princess bed, like in a royal bed. That was number 6, shut off EMFs. And number 7 is nature, barefoot on the soil, on the sand, on the grass, and do this for 20 minutes every day. I told you that in those days, those strange days that we're living in right now, we are faced with 3 types of people: those who are vaccinated, those who are not vaccinated, and those who have overcome the current health crisis. And each of these groups of people poses a certain situation for you, depending also in which group you fall of these 3 groups. And so this set of tips that I have put together for you is to put you in optimal condition, in a happy mood, in good frequency, in an alkaline state, and you will be very, very happy if you do this. And don't take my word for it. This is just what I figured out for myself. Try it out. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, and those 7 tips, you can try them all out and see what works for you. So this is my special intro for today, and now let's go into the cultural and spiritual backgrounds for the months of June. As you can see here on this list, it's the month that has the most special holidays, special occasions. Let us first have a look at new moon. We are now in the beginning of June, and on June 10th is the new moon at 10:53 a.m. Universal Time. So you just type in UTC in your internet browser, and you will see how that converts to your particular time zone. The exact time of the new moon is June 10th at 10:53 a.m. UTC. And until then, it's a good time for letting go, cleansing, throwing away stuff, clearing stuff, but not starting new projects. All the time, the waning moon until new moon is a time for reducing and getting things small or getting away with things. However, after June 10th is a time to grow. So the waxing moon starts all the way to full moon, which happens on 24th of June at 6:40 p.m. UTC, Universal Time. Calculation, and again, put it in your internet browser, UTC 6:40 p.m., what it gives you for your time zone. And that is the exact fullest moon. Until then, you have started all your new projects. So always between new moon and full moon is the time for new projects, growing things, letting things become strong and powerful. And from full moon to new moon is the waning moon, and that is the time for cleansing, for reducing, for throwing away stuff, for yeah, slimming down on many levels. So that's the moon periods. I'm not telling you about the portal days. If you are sensitive to portal days, please look it up in the internet, which are the portal days for the month of June. Some people actually feel it very strongly. However, in this month, we have summer solstice, and summer solstice happens on June 21st at 3:31 a.m. UTC. Last year, 2020, it was 6 hours earlier. It was on June 20th at 9:34 p.m. UTC. So this changes every year by 6 hours until we have the year with 366 days, then it resets back, which is why we have summer solstice, which is mostly on June 21st, sometime on June 20th. But in 2021, summer solstice is on June 21st. And I'm going to speak about summer solstice quite a bit because it is very important. It's half year, basically. The essential holy nights start on December 21st with winter solstice. By the way, if you live in the southern hemisphere, winter solstice is summer solstice for you. And summer solstice that's coming up now on June 21st is winter solstice for you. So please adapt accordingly if you live south of the equator. If you live north of the equator, you may remember the spiral that we were painting, all the things that should be in the center of your life and then going to the outside, and then outside on the periphery, things you want to let go in this year. And we have drawn altogether 7 such spirals on pieces of paper. If you did the exercise for December 21st, we did it for the physical life, for the emotional life, for our mental life, for our social life, for our financial life, for our spiritual life, and for our fun life. And as June 21st is coming up now, it's time to look at things. How have they developed? What of the things that we wanted to let go from our life have we really let go? And which of these things are still in our life? And at summer solstice, you can again throw into the summer solstice fire a paper. You don't have to make a whole spiral, just the things you want to let go. But summer solstice also means the first half of the year is ending. And what is the first half of the year? Winter solstice to summer solstice. It's all about sowing. It's all about starting things. It's sowing the seeds, cultivating the plants. Whereas after summer solstice, reaping, harvesting starts. It's not a good time anymore after June 21st to start something new. That is over now. So you have 21 days to go if you're watching this on June the 1st. And then it's really about cultivating, bringing it to an end, and harvesting it. So there is not so many projects for the year. You should, according to the essential holy nights, start anymore. Now, in the second half of the year, it becomes more a matter of harvesting and seeing what results these projects that you engaged in have brought to you. And for that, when you are close to a pyre of the summer solstice fire, as it is also called, you can throw into the summer solstice fire your intention, your wish, what results you will get in the second half of the year when it's time for harvest. So, summer solstice fire or summer solstice pyre, you are throwing in your wish list, basically, your intentions, your results that you're asking from life, that you're asking from the universe, the outcomes of your projects. And if still some things from winter solstice, remember the spiral, things you didn't want to have in your life anymore are still there, then you can repeat this and say, okay, this is now really going long overdue. Now, before we go into more specifics for the summer solstice, let me have a look at the month of June together with you in general. June is the month of femininity. June, the name June comes from Juno, a Roman mother goddess. I'll talk about her in a moment. And this is a very, very feminine month. Already May is a very feminine month, May being the month of friendship, making new contacts, making new acquaintances, finding new friends, finding possible partners. And in many countries in May, there's a lot of marriages going on, and some also do it in July, especially the 7th of July is a um, very popular day for marriage. However, in terms of the Holy Nights year, the month of June is ideal for matrimony. The month of June is ideal for marriage. The month of June is also ideal for starting a family, for getting children. The month of June is also ideal for starting a house or a household. And the month of June is also perfect for starting long lasting projects, but be aware you do that before June 21st. And again, if you are in the northern hemisphere, if you're in the southern hemisphere, the whole thing is half a year apart. So the first summer month, the sixth month according to the Gregorian calendar, owes its name to the Roman goddess Juno, the goddess of femininity, of birth, and of marriage. And she is what Hera is in the Greek pantheon. So the Greek goddess Hera, the wife of Zeus, is Juno in the Roman pantheon. And Juno, respectively, is the wife of Jupiter. And thereby, like Hera is the goddess of all the goddesses in Greek, Juno is the goddess of all the goddesses in the Roman culture. The magic of the month of June is more binding and more serious than the May magic of budding hopes and dreams and budding relationships and awakening of love. Now in June, that goes deeper. The love goes deeper. It can become even very passionate. It can become serious relationships. So June goes a step farther than May, and therefore it is also very apt for rituals that help with matrimony, with founding a family, with children, but also the protection of partners and the protection of the house or the household. That should be the focus. That could be rituals if you're using rituals. That should be what you set your intention on. So, deepening of partnership, deepening of matrimony, getting children or helping the children progress, and starting a household, or maybe even moving and starting a bigger household. These are all themes of June that are ideal in the month of June. In this month, in the old European tradition, they have made little bags, textile bags, where they put herbs inside, fresh collected herbs. And those herbs are first dried in the sunlight, in the June sunlight, and then a kind of intention or wish is put into them, and they're put into the textile bag. And such textile bags can be placed in any room of the house, or also you can carry such a textile bag with you. And it's quite interesting. That is very similar to the medicine bag that native North American Indians were carrying. And interestingly, not only native North American Indians used medicine bags, but many cultures, even way back millennia. Maybe you have heard of Ötzi. Ötzi is a Stone Age man who crossed the Alps in the Ötztal region in Tyrol, Austria. And of him in the ice was found not only the skeleton, but also his equipment and the rest of his furs. And he had also a bag. And the bag, that medicine bag that he carried, had fossilized mushrooms, in fact, healing mushrooms, and also resin from trees. So this Ötzi, that famous not Ice Age, Stone Age man, who was found in the ice of the Ötztal Alps, he was possibly a shaman, possibly a medicine man. In any case, he was carrying a medicine bag like native Indians do, and like in this European tradition is done with specially selected herbs that are dried in the sun and then are carried for the whole year and also put in the rooms for the whole year. And next June, again, this protection ritual and strengthening ritual will be repeated. In the month of June, we have one of the four Celtic um, holidays. So one is winter solstice, one is summer solstice, and then we have, of course, two in one in spring and one in autumn. I talked about them. And in this case, on 21st of June, we have summer solstice, also called Alban Heroin, and that is the time when the daylight is the longest in the northern hemisphere and the night is the shortest. Summer solstice is one of the few Celtic festivals, together with Beltane and with winter solstice, which is even today widely celebrated, often with pyres, often with huge fires, so-called summer solstice fires. And huge meaning 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters. Really powerful, wonderful for the children, wonderful to look into the flames, but also to do something with that summer solstice fire. So there is different variations of this tradition, but in general, people are meeting in special places in the open around such big fires, and they throw in their wishes for the harvest, for the fruition of their projects, for the outcomes, the results of their things they started, their projects they started, but also asking for a good harvest, as done by the farmers, as done by the rural population. So you throw in a piece of paper with your wish, your intention for the outcomes, for the harvest, both agricultural harvest and harvest in a bigger sense of the word. And you throw it directly into the fire. You may also sit there, look into the flames. It's amazing. It's usually celebrated on the eve of 20th of June, sometimes also in the eve of 21st of June, depending what time of the day the actual summer solstice is. And if you ever experience this once, you will know what I'm speaking about. It's a powerful event and it really connects with the sun. This festival is a sun celebration. At that time, the sun is the strongest in the strongest position of the whole year for the northern hemisphere. It's a fixed astronomical date. It's the day when the zenith of the sun is in the northernmost point of the northern arc. And this also marks the beginning of summer according to astronomical calculations. So let us have a look into those special days that I outline here for you. As I said, this is more than in any other month. It's quite interesting what number of special celebrations take place and have taken place. Especially this comes from Rome and Greece, the antique world. It starts with Juno. I told you about her already. She's the equivalent to Hera. She's the mother of all gods and goddesses. And Juno is ancient Roman goddess, the goddess of birth, of matrimony, and also of taking care for others. And she's also the goddess of the home. As I told you, Juno is the wife of Jupiter and thereby or therefore the queen of all the goddesses, like Jupiter is the king of all the gods. Likewise, Hera, the wife of Zeus, is the queen of all the Greek goddesses. There's a lot of historical details which I won't tell you. You can research Juno if you want. What is important for us and important for you is that by celebrating 1st of June, by celebrating the divine goddess, the feminine goddess, the mother goddess, the goddess of birth, you are strengthening your own divine femininity. If you are a woman, and if you're a man, you are acknowledging divine femininity. So 1st of June is an important date for respecting and celebrating the divine feminine. It's quite interesting that Juno is so important that throughout the year she has special holidays. One of them, by the way, is St. Valentine's Day. And St. Valentine's Day, of course, is named after the Saint Valentine. 14th of February, however, in the ancient Rome, 14th of February was a Juno festival day as well. And it was on that day, 14th of February, that special flower offerings were given to Juno to appeal to her and to make her kind to you. So to take her blessings on you. Juno has another meaning. It's also the personal protective deity of the woman or of any woman. Juno is the personal protective entity or spirit of woman. Thereby, she is the female counterpart of the male genius. Nowadays, we use the word genius in another context, someone who is highly intelligent, who is a genius. But in actual fact, the genius is the male protective spirit or male protection entity that goes with every man. So every man is basically a genius or has a genius, a genie. Even the word genie is derived from the Roman Latin word genius. And every woman has a Juno. And so it's nice on the 1st of June to become aware there's always a Juno, a female genius, a genie with you who protects you, who takes care of you. That is 1st of June, but that's only one, maybe the most important for the 1st of June, Juno. And we have another one, and she is called Karna. Karna, one of the smaller goddesses in the Roman mythology. She was the goddess of the physical heart, not the romantic heart, not the emotional heart, but Karna is the goddess of the physical heart that pumps the blood. And she's also the goddess of the internal organs. And she is the patron saint of physical health. So physical health and Karna, 1st of June. Her festival, the Canaria, is celebrated on the 1st of June. This day was dedicated to her because of the temple of the goddess on Caelius or Celius by Lucius Junius Brutus, the first consul of the Roman Republic, right after chasing out the Tarquinians. On this day, even to the present day in Italy, soft or light, well, with bacon, how can you say it's a light meal? But they say it's a light meal, it's a simple meal with bacon and beans. And I was lucky enough to live for more than a year in Italy, and the beans in Italy, it's something very distinctly different from Spanish beans or Central American bean or South American beans. We have a lot of beans in all these cultures. However, the Italian bean meals are something very delicate, something very fine and distinctly different from the Latin world, Hispanic world bean meals. And these are offered to Karna, but also being eaten on the 1st of June. And it's even called the bean first or the first of the month, bean first meal. And it's supposed, bacon you don't have to if you are vegetarian like I am. It's supposed to really give you a good omen for your bodily health, for the health and strength of your internal organs, and especially for your heart. And Karna blesses you on that day. And then, wouldn't you know it, there is a third one for 1st of June, and that's Tempestas. And Tempestas is another Roman goddess, and as her name indicates already, the tempest, she has to do with storms. She has to do with wind. She has to do with weather. We find first knowledge of the goddess Tempestas from the reports of Cicero, who spoke about stormy events in the year 259 before Christ. In the ocean before the island of Corsica, the centurion Cornelius Scipio, with his fleet of ships, got into a very heavy sea storm. And he reached out to the storm goddess Tempestas, and he promised he would dedicate a temple to her if she would safeguard him and his fleet of ships. And it duly happened. The winds subsided, and Cornelius Scipio really made a temple in front of the Porta Capena in Rome on the Via Appia. Via Appia is this ancient road. I once wandered there about 20 years ago. It's still in its original form, at least many kilometers of it. It's really heavy road because it's like 2000 years old, and you have all the ruts inside the rocks. The Via Appia is really an experience I can highly recommend. And at the beginning of this Via Appia Antigua, as it is called nowadays, the ancient Via Appia, you find the Porta Capena and this temple of Tempestas. Because the temple was dedicated on the 1st of June, it became the festival day of Tempestas. Tempestas, in the translation from Latin, can mean conditions. It can also refer to time or time periods or a special point in time. So conditions, time periods, or a special point in time. On the other hand, Tempestas, of course, refers to weather and wind and heavier weather conditions like storm and blizzards and uh, all kinds of whirlwinds and cyclones. In the symbolical sense, Tempestas stands for a stormy time, a time of unrest, a time of change, a time of upheavals. And this is now quite interesting. There have been some voices who indicated that summer 2021, autumn 2021 would bring a lot of change, at least in Europe. If that is true, we will see. I'm just reporting to you what I heard from various sources. And by saying that, it means that Tempestas will play a role this year. She will bring the so-called winds of change. And it will be seen if this change happens outwardly or if these changes happen inside the people. When there is talk about the tempestates, so the plural of tempestas, then all the storm goddesses are meant by that. So the temple erected by Cornelius Scipio lets us get the idea that storm is only referring to one goddess, but in the ancient Roman thinking it was many storm goddesses. However, Tempestas was like the main storm goddess. Cicero, in his reports about Tempestas, says also that you should always look at the winds, look at the weather conditions, look at the rainbows, and look at the shapes of the clouds, because sometimes they would indicate something. If that is true or not, I cannot say. However, this is Cicero who was the first to mention Tempestas. And in any case, there's also a funny um, minor aspect that, a woman scorned can be a fury. And that heavy fury or heavy storm that can come from a woman who is being betrayed is also in connection with Tempestas. So maybe 1st of June and the celebration day of Tempestas also a good day for man to pacify the storm goddess, or maybe even better to behave respectfully towards the women in their life. Also, 1st of June, you should fasten your windows, you should fasten your doors. That's what they did in ancient Rome, so that no winds and no storms could create havoc in their housing. So these are the three goddesses, all three very distinct: Juno, Karna, and Tempestas from 1st of June, all three celebrated on the 1st of June. I told you the month of June is regarded as the month of femininity and the divine feminine. Now we come to Vesta, and she's another very important female goddess, and she is the virgin keeper of the holy flame, the virgin keeper of the holy flame, but she's also associated as the goddess of home and oven, of cooking and keeping the family healthy and happy. And she is equivalent to the goddess Hestia in the Greek ancient world. In the Roman times, there was a picture above every oven in every home of the Roman Empire, a picture of Vesta. And Vesta is also a term that you may have heard more than once. The reason is very simple. She is the head goddess of a whole cult that was brought to Rome by King Numa Pompilius, and actually brought all the way from Troya. And there's a lot of historical stuff I won't tell you. However, that Vesta is also associated with Hestia, who, as I told you, is really connected with Tempestas. But even Vesta obviously has a connection with the Greek Hestia. And this means that the origin of these goddesses lies really very far in the past. So the cult of the Vesta, star, the temple of Vesta is at the Forum Romanum in Rome. And there are 6 priestesses of Vesta called the Vestalin priestesses, the Vestal priestesses, and they have to remain virgin in order to be able to take care of that temple. And they live near the temple of Vesta in the house of the Vestalins. King Augustus, or Caesar Augustus, Kaiser Augustus, made another altar of the Vesta cult in his own emperor's house on the Palatine. As goddess of the holy fire of the oven in each particular house and of the whole city, Vesta was also the queen or the goddess of each sacrificial fire. And so she was celebrated and worshipped together with Janus, the two-headed god, in every worship. Janus being celebrated in the beginning of the worship and Vesta in the end of the Mass or worship. Her own festival, the Vestalia, was appointed to happen every year on the 9th of June, but the Vestalia days are actually going all the way to 15th of June. So a lot of different things are happening in the ancient Roman time from the 9th of June to the 15th of June. Now, if you've ever come to Italy or lived in Italy, you know how good Italian food is. And as she is the goddess of cooking, she is the goddess of the oven, she is the goddess of eating. Maybe it was for a good purpose that they were worshipping her for centuries and centuries, because nowadays we have a very good cuisine coming from Italy, maybe thanks to the celebration and dedication to Goddess Vesta. Now we come to something very interesting, and that is a new celebration day, and that's the Fairy Day. And Fairy Day on the 24th of June, which falls also on the festival day of the goddess Fortuna. So these are two different occurrences. One is Fairy Day, International Fairy Day, and the other is the feast day of the goddess Fortuna, who is the goddess of fate in the Roman world, in the Roman philosophical world. And I'll change something here. And put in the presentation for you one more time. It's a little thing I can make better, so I do make it better. Okay, go. Here you go. So 24th of June, both International Fairy Day and Feast Day of the Goddess Fortuna. And of course, in this year, 2021, full moon also happens on 24th of June. So a lot going on. And this is just 3 days after summer solstice. Summer solstice we have on June 21st. So like the beginning of June, the time between June 21st and June 24th is also very important. And if you have intentionality, if you have vision, these are days you can always use to your advantage, depending on what intention you have, of course. So let me tell you a little bit about International Fairy Day and the interesting, really interesting story that is behind it. I mean, first of all, why would you have a fairy day? And secondly, who started it? And in fact, like nowadays, there are medieval festivals. Happened like in the last 20 years, people started to dress up like people in the Middle Ages, and like medieval marketplaces and medieval music has become a fashion in the last 20 years. So has happened Fairy Day, and all the little beings and gnomes and dwarfs of the other world. Maybe there was some influence of Tolkien from popular culture. Maybe it was just neo paganism that became more popular. However, it's celebrated on the 24th of June, and people who believe in these plant beings, in these fairies, in these elemental beings, in these elementar beings, in all these little beings, they are celebrating them on a special, beautiful spot in nature. They light a candle, they give some flowers there, some sacrifice, and they keep maybe even something glittering as a little offering, little stones or glass glitter, And if you feel during the whole year a little downcast or lacking of energy, then you should go back to that space where you have celebrated the fairies on June 24th on International Fairy Day, and you will be energetically recharged. And you should do that every June 24th. That's the belief that is behind the whole International Fairy Day. Now, the interesting story is coming now. How was it started and by whom? It was started by an American artist named Jessica Galbraith, who started the International Fairy Day in the year 2006, so not so long ago. And Galbraith was a very important and influential figure in terms of artistry and artworks concerning elves and fairies and other beings of the other world. And she was really like an idol for many people of natural religions and neo paganism. Now, the interesting thing, she was, I said, it's past tense. What happened? Already in 2010, Jessica Galbraith, the founder of International Fairy Day, turned to evangelicals. She became a reborn Christian. And for her, the whole fairy thing was suddenly something of the devil. And as you know, evangelicals, they're very dedicated to Jesus and to the Lord. And anything that is not directly from the divine could be from the other side. So it's quite interesting. She converted to evangelism and she turned her back really literally on International Fairy Day. Why am I telling this to you? This is about different perspectives. And of course, if you are evangelical Christian, you say this is the pure truth. And if you're neo pagan, you will say, oh, what happened to her? Was she brainwashed? How could she turn her back on all these beautiful natural beings and fairies? And this is a little bit about human perspectives and how everyone thinks I am right or my truth is the only truth. And why I'm saying this at this point is because we have a very similar schism and it's happening throughout years and decades and centuries and millennia again and again. The people get divided. For example, in our present day world, people who are vaccinated versus people who are not vaccinated or don't wish to be vaccinated. And of course, third group, those who got healed from the disease, who are neither vaccinated nor not vaccinated. I mean, they are not vaccinated, but they don't have to be vaccinated. And then vaccinated people say, oh, you are selfish if you don't want to get vaccinated. You might commit murder on someone just by not taking the vaccination. Or to children, it is told, well, if you want your grandmother to live, you should get vaccinated. You don't want to be the culprit if your grandmother dies. So this is quite tough stuff. And this is really mental stuff and strong influence or manipulation or however you would like to call it. And who is right? In terms of vaccinations, we usually find out years and decades later how successful a vaccination campaign was. If you look through the last 100 years, and some were very good and some were not as effective or even detrimental. Now, here we have the same thing. People believe in this or people believe in that, and who is to say what is right? And who can lord it over the others and say, no, you are of the devil, and or you are an egoist, you're killing other people by not getting vaccinated. Interestingly, even some vaccinated people can still spread the disease, which is actually not mentioned in this conversation, which is quite interesting. So both vaccinated and non-vaccinated people can still spread the disease. So why are people making these arguments? Why are people divisive? Why are people taking such monopolistic positions? It's really like faith fighting against faith, and this is human nature. Like throughout history, religions have been the death cause number one. That means more people died out of religious wars or religious conflicts than of any other death reason, reason of death. And these battles, religious battles, are basically battles of belief. I believe this, you believe that. And if you're not of my opinion, then let's fight because I'm right and you're wrong. And this is something that we probably are going to learn. Maybe this time it's the decisive time that people either come to their senses and become peaceful and accepting and understand God has infinite ways and God has inscrutable ways, and everything can serve a divine purpose, or we maybe fight against each other again, which I don't hope. For that, of course, we have an oil today, which I will explain to you. It's Myrtle, which is very interesting oil in terms of dualisms, in terms of egocentric inclinations and egocentric beliefs, and which you can work with in this month of June. Anyway, let's come back. This was the International Fairy Day on 24th of June, and the founder, Jessica Galbraith, who became an evangelical Christian. And she is blessed for that, and the whole occurrence, of course, made big waves in the neo-pagan community. So let's go on. There is one more on the 24th of June, and that's Fortuna. And Fortuna is another not male, female goddess. So the men are really not so strong. It's ladies who are really rolling the dice and letting the world go round in more ways than one. So Fortuna stands for luck, but also for fate, for good luck, but also for faithfulness. She has the power of fate. And she's also called Antias, is the fortune goddess and fate goddess of Roman mythology. She is equivalent to Tyche in the Greek mythology. And she actually represents the hail of the Nordic people. Hail is the original meaning of that word heil or hail that has been misinterpreted quite a lot also. Fortuna, the goddess of fate. This goddess was already in the beginning of the Roman Empire under King Servius Tullius very popular. Tullius is said to have dedicated 26 temples to Fortuna, each one with a different epiclese. According to legend, he was the son of a slave woman, and through the grace of Fortuna, of the goddess of fate, he came to the throne. So that was his way of saying thanks. Fortuna played later on a big role in the religion of the Romans, and she was one of the parses. Many temples in the whole Roman Empire are dedicated to her. For example, the temple of Fortuna Aesculapius, and at Antium, which is, of course, at Antium because she is also called Antias, in Praeneste, and also on the Quirinal, one of the 7 hills of Rome. And her festival is on the 24th of June. And she also became the state goddess of the whole Roman Empire. She was a Fortuna Populi Romani, but she was also a private goddess, Fortuna Privata, which is also very interesting. Here you have like the fortune of the state, Fortuna Populi Romani, and the fortune of the private person, Fortuna Privata. She was responsible for both. Interestingly, in the medieval times, the monastery schools in the 12th, 13th century in Europe were very influential. They taught Latin, they taught all the sciences, otherwise, it was the Middle Ages. And Fortuna, together with the goddess Natura, were seen as servants of God. And this is quite interesting because if you look into Christianity, there's only one God, and you shall not worship anyone except for the one God. And here you have monastic traditions, monastery schools, who are putting in Fortuna and putting in Natura as servant of God. And that was, for philosophers of that time, something very ironical, how the monastery schools arranged that to bring in some goddesses of old. Fortuna is seen as a very emotional goddess and a very contradicting goddess. That means she, in modern words, we would say she has mood swings. On the one hand, she could bestow abundance on you, but also poverty. She could give you good luck or bad luck. She could give you fame or put you into disgrace. And she was seen like Justitia, like the goddess of law, the goddess of justice. She was seen as impartial. She also had an original religious meaning as a goddess of fertility, but her later aspects of fortune and fate were most important, and she became even a queen goddess of the oracle. And she was asked about the future by drawing of cards or little wooden sticks, which is quite interestingly similar to the I Ching in China. The I Ching with its hexagrams is also foretelling something of the future. And in the Roman Empire, interestingly, Fortuna, she was also represented with such wooden sticks. And by what these sticks would say, you would predict the future. But also, she appears in the tarot. So, if you know the great arcana, the 22 cards of the tarot, the number 10, Wheel of Fortune, is the card dedicated to Fortuna. So, depending on the deck, you have different artwork, of course, but mostly she's represented as a female figure with a wheel, and that is the goddess Fortuna. So, life is a wheel, like the wheel of karma in the Indian yoga tradition. And if you love classical music, and if you come like myself from Salzburg, you may have heard about Karl Orff and his famous symphonic work, Carmina Burana, is an invocation of Fortuna. So the beginning, first part, and the last part of the symphonic composition, Carmina Burana, is dedicated to Fortuna. Fortuna Imperatix Mundi. And this is a glorious choir, which I'm sure you have heard. So if you think or meditate about fortune, about fate on 24th of June, make sure you're listening to Carmina Burana from Karl Orff. And why am I telling this to you? Now you will say, okay, Aditya, this time you really went far off the tangent. Lots of crazy stuff. The reason why I'm telling you this is because life is a riddle. Fate is a riddle. We never know what comes next. In some times, we think it's quite sure what comes next. In other times, like in our present time, we're not sure what comes around the next corner. And so, what I'm suggesting to you this June 21st, when you look into the fire of the summer solstice, maybe you make your own private little fire. Maybe you are lucky, you have a big pyre nearby, 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters. Those fires, they go for hours throughout the night. It's amazing. And then you really meditate on the flames, because the flames, it's also always changing, and in the end, nothing remains. It's all burned down. June 21st, summer solstice, and then June 24th, feast day of Goddess Fortuna. Maybe you contemplate a little bit on transiency, contemplate or meditate on the changeability of things, the mood swings of Fortuna, or also the tempest, the winds of change. It's just some ideas I'm giving to you out of an inkling I have that things are changing and that we will experience changes. So this June may present you with a great opportunity to prepare yourself inwardly for changes, make you open for changes, and also set your intention, set your vision already to make these changes to the positive. That brings us to the actual part of the Holy Nights. I've told you a lot of other stuff today, and it's maybe worthwhile to listen into it one more time, because there were some thoughts that are helpful, especially for this time. I remind you of the first 20 minutes, which were these 7 direct tips for you in this present day situation, which can help you tremendously. But now let's go to the oils proper and the essential holy nights. And as I told you, we have 3, wrong side to the front. We have 3 oils, and that's Hyssop, Myrtle, and Cassia. And Hyssop and Myrtle, they are related to each other, and Cassia is something very, very different. I'll tell you about all 3 of them. And you know these oils already from 30th of December. 30th of December, the 6th holy night, of course, corresponds to the month of June. And therefore, I recommended those oils already to you. So let me refresh your memory. Myrtle corresponds to the Divine Mother of Heaven. And it's an amazing oil full of camphenes, but very soft and purifying and illuminating. And then you have Hyssop, and Hyssop was one of the favorite oils of Jesus Christ. Jesus used a lot of frankincense, of course, but according to apocryph sources, Hyssop was another favorite of Jesus Christ. And interestingly, Hyssop is said to represent the God the Father. Frankincense as the main oil of God the Father, but Hyssop also is a very important oil representing God the Father, like Myrtle represents God the Mother, not the Earth Mother, that would be Myrrh, the Earth Mother, but Myrtle is the Heavenly Mother. So you have God the Mother and God the Father with these 2 oils. And they have tremendous effect. Both have a lot of camphenes like camphor, like Ravintsara, and it's very good for your lungs, for your breathing. It's very purifying. And also, it's excellent for dissolving negative memories. So I'll come to that in a moment. Let me first tell you about Cassia. Cassia is a hot oil. It's one of the oils you should not apply on the skin neat. In fact, this is the most hot oil, the hottest oil of them all. Hotter than clove, hotter than basil, hotter than oregano, hotter than thyme, and hotter than cinnamon bark. Cassia, in fact, is a form of cinnamon that comes from China. And it has, after, so amazing, after galbanum, which is parsley from Persia, galbanum, parsley oil, the second highest degree of phenylpropanes, and that's very, very electrical. It's phenylpropanes create a lot of biological electricity, and they really get you going. For example, when I have worked too long in the night and I'm a little bit tired in the morning, then I dilute the cassia oil 1 to 10 or even 1 to 15 in a carrier oil and apply it all over. And it's really like waking up the dead. So if you're really exhausted, if you need a little electricity of life, then I can recommend you cassia all over your face, your hair, and also your neck and your shoulders. It will really bring you back to life. Also on your feet. And make sure to dilute it because otherwise you have really red spots on your chin. Additionally, cassia with its phenylpropanes is really energizing the nadis, energizing the meridians, and also purifying the chakras. So it's a great oil for cleansing information in the chakras, information in the nadis, the subtle nerves, information in the meridians. So what are you going to do now with these three oils? Number one, make a spray bottle out of it. So it can be any spray bottle. This is 100 milliliter. It's actually something else that I got this bottle from, but I put inside 13 drops of cassia, 27 drops of myrtle, and 27 drops of hyssop. And I filled it with distillated water. So 27 myrtle, 27 hyssop, and 13 drops of cassia. And then I spray my aura with it, spray my chakras. And don't spray it into your eyes though, my neck. And this is also an excellent spray for any room or any area, any space, because it's really purifying. Just by putting this now into my aura, I feel a tingling in my hands and in my feet. So even without having it sprayed to the palms of my hand, I feel a tingling in my hand and my feet. It's an amazing oil blend or spray bottle blend. 27 drops of myrtle, 27 drops of hyssop, and 13 drops of cassia. Now let me tell you a little bit more about those three oils. Cassia is a very hot oil. You should use maximum 13 drops. It really ignites electricity and it's really tingling. Hyssop has been used already in ancient times to cleanse information. The Jewish sacrifice of animals for the gods, they have cleansed the rooms using hyssop oil to cleanse the rooms from the pain vibration of the sacrificial animals. This oil is not only excellent on the physical plane and cleansing, but it's also cleansing on the energetical plane and especially the mental plane. That means mental formations. I spoke about before already the beliefs people have, belief systems people have. And of course, everyone living in their own bubble, everyone living in their own filter systems. And that can be sometimes dangerous. So in my view, hyssop, very helpful oil in the present time. To become clear, hyssop is a fantastic oil for your diffuser and for the aura spray or room spray. And if you can, take a dark blue bottle. Here I don't have a dark blue bottle, that's best, but you can take any spray bottle and use this distilled water with 27 drops of myrtle, 27 drops of hyssop, 13 drops of cassia. Spray it into every corner of every room of your house, especially into areas where you're not going regularly, and visualize how everything is being cleansed and cleared. the scent of this blend of these three oils is very, very pleasurable. And if you want to use it for aromatic use, so you can take one drop of myrtle, which by itself, I mean, I wouldn't now mix it, I would just use each one separately. Myrtle, God the Mother, Hyssop, God the Father, very subtle. And then a drop of cassia. And of course, with cassia, be careful. And you are really inhaling it. You can even put your hands everywhere around your body, kind of in your energy field, in your aura. You'll be amazed how strong you feel it, how clarifying, how clearing it is. If you have any congested areas, you can put it over congested areas and move it. Minus the cassia only if it's diluted. Otherwise, you could also put it on the skin, on your lungs. You'll immediately notice how your lungs are opening, how your lungs are expanding. And this is quite interesting. Why would lungs contract? Because of feelings of guilt. Guilt makes us contract. Guilt makes us small. Guilt makes us feel miserable. And it doesn't help you, of course, to grow out of it. So Jesus was the proponent of forgiveness. Jesus was not going around preaching you are dirty sinners and you will burn in hell. No, Jesus was preaching the teaching of forgiveness and go there in peace. Your sins shall be forgiven. And that makes a lot of sense to me, knowing that Jesus also loved the hyssop oil. Hyssop, due to its high degree of camphenes, is able to delete wrongful information in your cells, and especially with guilt topics, or also with worries, and also with sorrow, and with any kind of reducing thoughts that make you little. It can really help you to overcome that shrinking effect and become the true you again. Now, with myrtle, we have another effect. Myrtle is not directly associated with guilt or sorrow or worries. It's also not associated with wrong programmings in your chakras, in your energy channels, like cassia, which can really cleanse that all. But myrtle is more with the idiosyncrasies of our own ego, with our own little pettiness, our dualisms, and our antagonisms, and our knowing it better than the other and telling people. More precisely, myrtle is connected with our psychological allergies. It means we react allergic to something or someone because we think, how can he? Or what does she think? Who does she think she is? Remember, I talked about it earlier, all these rifts between human beings, which we will have another chance to finally overcome. Because separation is rampant, separation is everywhere, and myrtle is a great oil to overcome separation, to overcome judgmentalness. And also another psychological allergy, and that is impatience. And when are we impatient? When our ego is strong. We think life owes it to us, that we get it. We think it should go faster. I need it now. And we become impatient. Impatient, first of all, is always the indicator of a big ego, of an ego that wants things to go in its own way. And life has its own way, not your own way or my own way. Actually, it's not about is it my way, is it your way? It's really only about is it God's way? And Myrtle really helps you to overcome these egotistical idiosyncrasies and to surrender again, to go above judgmentalism, to go above discrimination, and to go to a place of acceptance and surrender. So this is a little overview. I told you about it already on the 30th of December of these oils and how you can use them aromatically, apply topically, use in the spray bottle, or also you can use them in your diffuser. Now, finally, let's have a look at your 7 areas. And we are speaking of settling scores and clearing up and bringing things to an end in the month of June. I told you already in winter solstice, you make this spiral, and what is on the periphery should leave your life. Now with summer solstice, one more time, you can do that spiral or just throw into the fire the things that should leave your life by now. But also, again, you can write on the pieces of paper your intentions, your wishes for the world, your wishes for the outcomes of your project, your blessingful wishes for your dear ones and for everyone. And you throw them into the summer solstice fire. And for this, a lot of writing can be done before June 21st. And while you're doing that, and you could start right now, what are your desired outcomes? What should be the results? What should be your harvest at the end of this year? You can, of course, also fulfill or complete what you have written down for your 7 areas: physical, emotional, mental, social, financial, spiritual, and happiness. So what does settling and clearing up, coming to terms, mean on the physical plane? What is there to settle on the physical plane? What is there to clear up on the physical plane? Do you owe something to your body? Or do you owe something to your dwelling on the physical plane? If yes, what do you owe to your dwelling? What do you owe to your physical body? Now I'm excusing myself. Using the word I'm owing something makes us like we are indebted. And it's not a positive idea to think like you are owing something. Better look at it in a positive way. You're giving honor to your body. You're giving honor to your dwelling. Or you're giving thanks. You're giving thanks to your body. You're giving thanks to your dwelling. Or strengthening your body. Strengthening your dwelling. In terms of clearing up, settling on the physical plane, what can you do to acknowledge, to honor, to be grateful to strengthen? And also maybe to physically purify yourself. What can you do on the physical plane to clear up and to settle scores? Things that should have been done maybe already long before on the physical plane, or not only on your bodily physical plane, on the extended physical plane. Second area, emotional plane. What should you clear up? What should you settle on the emotional plane? Which feelings, which emotions make you indebted, make you dependent, make you feel guilty? Owing something, when you think of, oh, I'm owing something to this person, to that person, makes you feel guilty. Can you clear that up? Can you settle that? Can you go beyond feelings of guilt? And how would that feel for you? How would you smile if you go beyond being indebted, beyond being guilty or owing something to someone? That brings us to the mental plane. What can you clear up on the mental plane? What can you settle on the mental plane? It's maybe these thoughts of being indebted, thoughts of owing something to someone, which are basically thoughts of lack, thoughts of deficit, lots of thoughts of not having something. And clearing those thoughts of lack, of indebtedness, of guilt up can bring you into a space of abundance. So, which thoughts in your head can you clear up that make you reduced? So that you are not reducing yourself anymore, that you are not making yourself small anymore, but that you celebrate yourself, honor yourself, and strengthen yourself as a self responsible, free human being. About being a free human being, well, that's another matter. What about the world around us? That brings us to number 4. How can you clear up the social plane? How can you clear up the world around you, all the humans around you? As I said, in historical times, we come to times of great schisms. People who say you are of the devil, or only if you are with us, you are with God. Or people who say, oh, you are not vaccinated. You're a killer to others if you don't get vaccinated. Or come and join us. We are vaccinated. We are there for the good. And who's to tell? Historically, in hindsight, we always know, but right at this point, what shall you do? Well, first of all, listen to your own heart. Listen to your own feeling. Make your own analysis. Do your own due diligence. And act only in accordance with your own feeling, even if your next is doing something different. And this is clearing up on the social plane. This is settling on the social plane. Many people have been herd animals for too long. Many people have given away their personal power for too long. Maybe people have given away their self-responsibility for too long. And so it fits perfectly into this June of 2021. How could you settle scores and clear up things with friends, with acquaintances, and even with family members? How can you thank them? How can you honor them? How can you support them as what they are, even if they are on a different lane than you are? How can you strengthen them without taking anything away from yourself? And number 5, of course, financial plane. What is there to clear up? What is there to settle on the financial plane? First of all, have you done your investments for the year? And this is quite an interesting thought, because in the agricultural bookkeeping, in agricultural, well, bookkeeping is the only word that comes to my mind right now, accounting. Agricultural accounting, the year ends in the Northern Hemisphere on 30th of June, not on the 31st of December. Agriculture is the only area of economy that ends the fiscal year on the 30th of June. I'm not sure of all the countries, but in many countries I know, and it's interesting, the fiscal year ends on 30th of June in agriculture, not on 31st of December. Why is that? Because till the end of June you are sowing out seeds and you're starting to cultivate. And then the agricultural year ends, and it starts with the half year of harvest till winter solstice. And then again, second half, you're sowing out the seeds for the new. That's quite interesting. Why did they choose for agriculture to have the fiscal year different by half a year from all the other areas of economical endeavor? In the same way, now I'm asking you, the year ends in terms of what you can start. By June 21st, by summer solstice, that's it. All the things you have started, all the projects you have started, now they will slowly start bearing fruit. But it's not making sense to start sowing new seeds in a time of harvest. Now is the time to cultivate to the harvest and to harvest fully. So, in that sense, in your own economical reality, in your own financial reality, have you paid all your dues? Have you paid all your invoices? And have you done your investments already? And I encourage you to finish that by 30th of June. It will give you a year a totally new quality. And it will give you financial life a totally new quality. To see not just 31st of December as a cutoff, but to see 30th of June as a cutoff for all the new things, for all the investments that you have started. Then you haven't started, wait for next year, wait for next winter solstice to summer solstice. Because now the half year ahead of you is a half year of harvesting. That brings us to area number 6. What are your plans? What are your dreams? What are your notes that you have written down for your spiritual plane? And what is there to clear up on your spiritual plane? What is there to come to terms with in your spiritual life? Which scores are there to be settled? One of the most important is receptivity. Receptivity is a function of purity. And in the spiritual realm, something that is sadly missing is that people cannot receive. They don't feel worthy enough. They don't feel pure enough. They feel they are a sinner. They feel they have guilt. And that closes them down and makes them less receptive. This is maybe the top topic for clearing up. Become more receptive. Take in the blessing. Take advantage of the blessing. Every day is a blessing. Every minute is a blessing. God is there always to bless you. So avail yourself for a blessing. And how do you do that? By becoming more receptive. And that also has to do with acceptance. So accept and don't reject. Accept and don't block, don't fight against. Work with what is given to you. And you never know how it turns. Life is sometimes like a kung fu fight, like a judo fight. You take something and then you can turn it in another direction. But first you have to take it. First you have to accept it. So number 1, receptivity. Number 2, acceptance. Another way of clearing up and of settling scores. Number 3, are you too hard on yourself? Are you condemning yourself? Making yourself a sinner, a guilty person. And is that helping you? So here, coming to terms or clearing up, maybe forgiveness, maybe more kindness to yourself, and maybe less judgmentalness. So I remind you of the great qualities of the myrtle oil that helps you to go beyond the likes and the dislikes, the egoisms, the idiosyncrasies, the judgmentalness. Maybe you stop judging yourself so much, or you at least decrease judging yourself so much. Myrtle will help you immensely. I remind you, Myrtle is connected with Fabiana, with Aphrodite, with the heavenly divine feminine. So why should you be so hard on yourself? 3 tips from me to you for clearing up and settling on the spiritual plane. Be receptive, accept, have more acceptance, and be kinder to yourself. Don't be judgmental. That brings us to the final plane, the 7th plane, and that is have fun. Even if June presents you with a lot of condensed energy, June is a very intense month. If you look back in your life, look what qualities June brought to you. And if your Junes were not full, not intense, then you have not taken full advantage of each particular year. Because in June, a lot is decided and pre-decided. It's the last time where you can bring in new seeds, sow new seeds, start new projects. And B, it's beginning to turn over into the harvesting period, into the receiving the results period, which is, by the way, why being receptive is so important and being accepting is so important. So you get the benefit of the year, you get the blessings, you get the results that you deserve. And if you're happy, things will come to you. If you're unhappy, if you're negative, things will stay at bay. You will keep them away. So one of the best ways to master each month of June is to be happy, especially happy in June. To engage in lightheartedness, in happiness, in positivity. So you also ask yourself, which 3 things that I really love, that really give me fun, shall I do in this June? How can I stay in what gives me the most fun, the most joie de vivre, the most delight of existence? Stay in that which makes you blissful. Follow your bliss. With what you feel the happiest is what you're meant to do, for which you were born to do. That is your purpose. That is your raison d'être. So that is the month of June. Big picture. I told you this will be a special edition. I thank you so much for your patience. Remember, being impatient is usually the sign of a big ego, an allergic ego reaction. So you use Myrtle and things become much easier for you. And work through it again. Probably you have taken notes, but maybe you go through it one more time, especially the 20 minutes in the beginning are highly effective if you start using these tips. It can help you tremendously because we live in a time of resilience. We have to be resilient. We have to strengthen ourselves. And in a positive way, not in an I must way, but in an easy way. Let things come to you. Let your results come to you. Let gifts come to you. Let people come to you. This is my final recommendation for you. By June 21st, the first part of the year, the sowing period has ended. And then June the 22nd, you switch into letting things come to you, availing yourself of things, being there to receive. Wish you a wonderful month of June, and we see again and hear again in the beginning of July.